Allison, remember 20 years ago, it was Florida, Florida, Florida? We waited 36 days to find out who would be president. Now, it may turn out that Florida, which just held a primary, is a bellwether of how people will vote in this upcoming presidential election. This week's primary election in Florida giving us a window into how coronavirus and fears of catching it in public spaces like voting precincts is dramatically shifting the way our nation votes. What we did not see in Florida this week was this: long lines, not only because of coronavirus, but also early voting by mail is convenient. On election night, special elections teams picked up the late arriving ballots directly from the post office. With almost 3.9 million votes cast in Florida's Tuesday primary, a record 60% of Floridians voted by U.S. mail. 14% voted in person, but early. And on Election Day, only a quarter of Floridians voted in person. There's so much attention on this question of the post office, at least in your experience with this most recent election, more of a red herring than an actual problem?
I certainly did not see any problems with any delivery. Our ballots are being delivered in just a couple days.
One key to Florida's smooth vote count, they began processing mail-in ballots 22 days before Election Day, so there's no backlog counting election night. In the upcoming presidential election, 9 states and Washington, D.C. will automatically mail ballots to voters. In most of the nation, voters request a mail-in ballot, citing the pandemic or giving no reason at all to vote absentee. 6 states still require voters cite a reason for permission to vote by mail, but the coronavirus is not a valid excuse. To find out the rules in your state, check out NBCnews.com/planyourvote. Hillsborough Supervisor of Elections Craig Latimer is also president of the Florida Supervisor of Elections.
I think Florida's positioned well. We've had vote by mail for years, no excuse vote by mail. We've had early vote for years, and of course we're always going to have Election Day. So, people have spread over those 3 methods of voting. I can tell you in Hillsborough County here, we don't experience lines for early voting or Election Day because the people do spread out. And I think now with more vote by mail, you're certainly going to see less in-person voting.
Florida a bellwether? That's a long way from the 2000 election meltdown, with hanging chads, butterfly ballots, a recount, and a legal battle that lasted more than a month. In 2018, some counties in the state still with issues as officials struggled to recount in a close Senate race.
And it's like, hey, for the first time, Florida's got a chance to be on top here and not be made fun of. So we've got everything in place to really be successful here and be the shining star.
We now have an early indication of the ballots sent by mail that were not counted. In a spot check across Florida, among the worst in Miami-Dade County, where 2.7% of the ballots arrived late. It's unclear if that's because they were delayed by the U.S. Postal Service or if they were dropped in the mail a day or two before the election and voters unrealistically expected them to arrive on time. Allison?
How are you voting in the 2020 presidential election? If you're confused about your options, don't know what they are, NBC News is here to help with a new state-by-state guide called Plan Your Vote. It has everything you need to know about voting rules, deadlines, and restrictions by state. Check it out at NBCnews.com/planyourvote.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.